Think of your goal right now. The goal that you really want to achieve so bad, something that's so important to you. Do you see yourself actually achieving it? Or is it one of those things where it's like, that's kind of like a dream, you know? Every time when you think about it, when you visualize it, when you imagine it, how important is it to you? If you don't wake up with the fear of missing out on that opportunity, on that goal, on that dream of achieving it, is it truly big enough? So there I was again, recently deciding what I was going to do with my life. I left my career as an EMC and my short career as an EMC and went back to my old job in a restaurant. I was embarrassed. Because, not because of the job at the restaurant, but it was just like this career, this uniform goal of working for fire rescue and how like good it looked, and now I'm back in a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? And nothing wrong with like, I'm not knocking the restaurant. It's just like a disappointment of going back. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I'm so back to square one. But I just kept getting the question of, what's next? What's the next move? Like, what are you gonna do? Do you have any plans? What's your future gonna look like? And like I said, honestly, I had no clue. Back to the drawing board. Dig deep and decide, what type of man do I want to become? What type of father do I want to become? What are the type of man I look up to and aspire to be like? What does my best self look like? What do I want him to be able to do, to say, to act? I decided, well, of course, I want to be elite. Well, of course, I'm a warrior, a savage among savages. And so I'm embarking on that. I'm working towards that. It's not easy, but nothing worth having is easy. When I wake up, I have fear of not doing enough. I feel like you should always kind of have that pressure, that fear against your back, right? And I'm going to get to that later. When you embark on that, despite the discomfort, because the comfortable you would just, let's just stay inside. Let's not pursue this. Let's just chill out. Let's do the bare minimum. But when you have that fear and you go after it regardless, full 100%, then that means something. And I'm gonna speak a little bit more on that later, but what I will say is, like, if you don't have that fear, if you don't feel that pressure when you're going after something, when you're achieving a goal, then it's not big enough. You're not achieving great things, then you're living in that fear. As a matter of fact, you're living in that comfort, and that's why I brought it up. And so you got to evaluate when it comes to you setting goals that are worth having. Is it big enough? Go how deep you want the rabbit hole to go. You're only choosing goals that you know are doable. You're only choosing goals that you know you can accomplish. But I think often as human, or like as men, we feel like we have to earn something. Things are a lot better when you earn it, right? It's almost like my physique, right? I earned it. And there's people with a lesser physique that try to tell me like, oh, you're getting fat, or like, oh, you're getting skinny, because they don't understand. But at the same time, it's like I take their critiques with a grain of salt, because it's like, I earned my physique. You haven't earned anything yet, so why are you even speaking on it? And that's a whole nother talk that I was talking about my buddy about this body dysmorphia. But I was telling him that it's like basically not going off too much on a tangent. It's like we often feel like things are just better when it's earned. But when you keep setting goals that are little, that are easy, that you know you can achieve, even if it is that slight little pressure that you feel, do you truly feel like it's earned? I seen a recent podcast with Chris Williamson and C-Bum, and they were talking about exactly the subject. And C-Bum was talking about that there is no like perfect way to achieve something, right? There's no perfect way to achieve championship. Everybody has their own distinct ways. He said something very interesting, and it's like, when it comes to being champion, there is no rules, because somebody's gonna find something that works for them. But he said that when he'd compete on deciding to become Olympia champion each time, coming off of injuries, having those doubts in his mind of not doing enough, not being enough, he would feel that fear creeping in as the event approached closer and closer. But what's important is that he said, and this is what I want you to take away from this, is that he'd embrace it. He leaned into it. He turned it into excitement. And I think that's the important part of choosing goals that are big, right? Because look, how do you lean into that fear? How do you lean into that approach that he takes? It's simple as this: with the fear of not doing enough behind you, but the inspiration of the goal and what it can achieve, and you wanting it in front of you. It's almost like that piece of food dangling in front of you, but you got a scary monster behind you. You're gonna get your goal. You have two factors that are pushing you, but you can't truly get that pressure, get that fear behind you if you know the goal is winnable. But to achieve something that's worth something to you, not even to anybody else, to you, and that's the important part. And that's where my example comes in, my mistake of me thinking that having a uniform and going into a career that was respectable was good enough for other people, but it wasn't good enough for me. It wasn't big enough for me. So make a goal with a deadline, plus a plan and consistent action, and no doubt you will achieve success. Basically, the point is when you're setting a goal, when you're deciding on a goal, you know it's a great goal when it scares you and inspires you at the same time. And an extra little tip is, don't speak about your goal. Let the result speak for itself. If you want to get a house, you don't know how the hell you're gonna get a house, but you know that you're gonna do it. You know that you're gonna find a way. Don't speak about it. Yeah, it feels good to, share it with people, but you know what feels a lot better? When people drive by or they see on social media that somebody else posted or whatever, the house that you achieved. And it's not obviously for not other people to see, but it's nice knowing that you earned something and getting a knowledge for it. It's nice too. Why is that such a bad thing? Why is that such a bad thing to get respect for something that you earned and wanting that respect? You've done something. You've come a long way from something that not a lot of people do. it's only natural that you'd want some type of recognition for the effort that you put in. That's how I see it. Obviously, you don't need somebody to acknowledge you. You know what you've been through the most, and also to inspire others. And if I have a great physique through training, and somebody is like, wow, your body's so nice, and then that makes them change, why not? That's such a beautiful thing to me. That's such a beautiful thing, because in a small piece, you're inspiring change in the world. But that change can only be done when you first have to change yourself. And that's the most beautiful part of change and evolution and growing. That's why I love it so much. And that's why like that recognition is nice. But I'm going off on a tangent. I have like my notes here. So yeah, don't speak on your goals. Don't speak on making money. Don't speak on none of these things. Let the results speak. Let the results speak for themselves. The good things will come. Do your thing. Do good things, and good things will come to you. And something to consider when thinking of your goal, so you don't make the same mistake I made. And I'm paraphrasing what David Goggins said, but he said this: no uniform or badge or title or whatever can give you honor. You give yourself honor. It's about having pride in who you are, no matter what the world thinks or says. And I'm gonna leave it at that. That's how to set and achieve any goal.